you results oriented in your business? Hi y'all, thanks so much for joining me. In less than 15 minutes, I'll be sharing with you 3 things that you can do if you really are results oriented in your business. Please like and share this video if you get value from it, and if you're listening to it on the podcast on that replay, you can drop a like or heart in there. Appreciate your support. So being results oriented, it's all about results in our business, isn't it? I strongly believe that solutions plus actions equals results, to the point that it's my tagline, right? Because without solutions, we're not going to get to actions and we're not going to get results. And we're all in business because we want to be successful. And yeah, I get it. We want to make money, right? We want to make that money. And in order to get to that financial benefit, we got to get those results. We have to get those results that we want so that we can get all those things that we wanted to get when we started our business. And by the way, hi, I'm Dr. P. I'm a strategic business coach, and I have been a school psychologist in K-12 schools prior to becoming a business coach. And I've also served on professional organization committees. I've been a marketing chair, public relations, media specialist, even been on the board of directors for a charity. And I've taught more than 10 online psychology graduate courses at the master's level, right? So I'm talking about being results oriented. Throughout my whole life, I was always about achieving and succeeding, and that just kept me going. Don't get me wrong, even though I will tell people I'm results oriented, the thing is there's sometimes, right? And I'm sure you can relate to this. There's sometimes when you actually have to be process oriented. You do, because sometimes, when you're looking at that big picture, there might be something that's not working, and you really got to go down and look at the different processes. Hence, for me, solutions plus actions equals results is a core part of my company, Priscilla Kuster Consulting Solutions, because we need the solutions to go with the actions in order to give us those results that we want. So I really want to talk about being results oriented. And like I said, it was some features that were in my previous career as a school psychologist, and I'm bringing it into being a business coach. Because to be honest, as a school psychologist, I did comprehensive assessments to find out what the problem was, not just at an individual level, but also at an organizational level. Then, once I found those out, I was able to then identify some solutions to go with those, to match with that problem so that you can correct the problem, right? And when you're identifying those solutions, the next thing that you have to do is look at those actions, because actions are a part of the solution. It is all well and fine to sit down and say, oh my God, I got all these problems. You can figure it out by yourself, with your team, with a business coach, whoever you do your problem solving with, right? But then once you identify the solution, it doesn't end there. You do have to get those actions, so that you got to match the actions with the solution. But even when you start doing the actions, that's not the end, right? Because the proof is in the pudding. You have to look at those results. So you're not just looking at putting actions into place and not even checking to see whether or not they're working. You have to look at your results. Because regardless of what your problem is, regardless of the solution, regardless of the actions, we still, as business owners, need to know whether or not it's working. We really do, because once we know whether or not it's working, then that impacts the next decision we're going to be making for our business. Because again, we're in the business of getting results regardless of what we are selling, whether it's a product or a service. So when I'm talking about getting those results, you got to be analyzing those results. You got to know what you're looking for. And a part of that is knowing the objective that you had for that intervention that was implemented. You do need to have that objective in mind. So in the school system, when we found these interventions that would match, with the problem that we identified, that we knew was going to actually target that problem and be a solution, the next thing we needed to do is really have that communication with our team. Because you need to be able to identify the objectives for the results that you are going to be for the actions you're going to be implementing. Because again, we're not just putting actions into place and forgetting about them or not even tracking them. What actions you put into place for your business, you have to be able to take the time to understand what the objective was that you wanted to achieve And if you're working with a team, you have to actually communicate with your team. You do. You have to communicate with your team about how those results are doing. You're looking at that step by step of what is going to happen next. And I've met a lot of people that when I tell them, hey, yeah, I was in education before I became a business coach, they're looking at me like, you don't know anything about business, right? It's like they're two different worlds. But the thing is, education and business have so many similarities. It is shocking that so many people don't understand the similarities, because in education, we had to identify a problem. And then once you identify the problem, we're identifying the solution or the intervention that we're going to be implementing. But then you also have to match the actions in those interventions with the solution. Then you implement those actions. Then you have to be monitoring the results of those actions. It happens in education and it happens in business. And that's what I share with a lot of people, because yes, my background is in education and psychology, but I'm bringing that same results-oriented mentality into business and using these strategies, because there were strategies that we used in education that I saw was so successful that I can see how business owners can benefit from it. Because when we're looking at those trainings, when you're looking at that organizational development, setting goals, there's a lot of terminology that is used in business, that's used in education, and a lot of people don't understand that. So for me, I'm results-oriented, did it in education, and I'm doing it in business. Because again, in education, you had individual interventions that we were implementing to help the individual student, right? But get this. In education, there were also individual interventions that could be used to help an individual staff member. I'm talking like a teacher, a school psychologist, a principal, a director, executive director, or even a superintendent, because there's something that we may have been dealing with at that individual level that we needed an intervention for, so that we can actually be getting those success results that we wanted. So that's the individual level for the student and for the adult in the school system. But then there were also interventions at what is the organizational level. And I'm talking whole school interventions, or an entire department within the school district, or even the entire school district, because you're looking at that organizational level. Because sometimes there's some results that we need to get, and we need to be getting them at the organizational level, not just the individual level. So in education, those organizational interventions were things dealing with health and wellness, culture, morale, job satisfaction, burnout, stress, issues related to diversity, equity, inclusion, instructional practices, classroom management, recruitment issues, retention of staff and good staff, right? And professional development trainings, crisis response, contingency planning, and so much more. Those were the things that I dealt with while working in the school system. But guess what though? Same thing in business. When it comes to identifying problems, the problems can be occurring at the individual level, and they can also be occurring at the organizational level, or either or. Might be at both, or it might be one or the other. Because we have to be able to identify if the problem is at the individual level. Because whatever our result is that we're aiming for, we need to know where the problem lies. Because you don't want to put an organizational intervention in place if the issue is an individual one. And vice versa, you don't want to put an individual intervention in place, excuse me, if it is an organizational problem that you're facing. So in business, sometimes the individual level might mean there's something that you need to do. Because I've been there. There are times when there are things I need to do as a business owner so that I can get the results that I'm looking for, right? I have to do the work on my end. Take, for instance, if you're going to work with a company who, let's take marketing, for instance. You're going to be working with a digital marketing company. They have to know who your target audience is. So for me, if that is a problem, I can't identify it as an individual. I still need to put in the work to be able to identify who my target audience is. It is my business. So if it's my business, I should be able to describe my target audience, my ideal customer, my persona, my avatar, whatever it is you call it. But that is something I'm dealing with at the individual level, because how then can I bring other people on board to my organization if I can't explain to them who we're targeting? So that's why there's some interventions that will be at the individual level. And it can also be individual if it is one of your employees or a team member. So that's the difference is, it could be individual, you, your team member, or an employee. This is for your small business. But it can also be at the organizational level. Because if you have team members, you have employees, you might be experiencing some problems right now at the organizational level that is impacting the results that you're seeing. So you're not getting to achieve what you actually wanted to do. And being results oriented, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, how can we get to these results? What do we need to be doing to get to the results that we need? So that's where you might have to take a look at your organizational structure. And I'm talking about your business. Your business is an organization. So those organizational challenges can be related to wellness, workplace culture, team morale, job satisfaction, burnout, stress, diversity, equity, inclusive practices, responding to a crisis, having that contingency plan in place for your business, hiring challenges you might be facing, retention of key employees, professional development for yourself, that continuing education for yourself, and also for your team members, and so much more. But wait, hold on. I feel like I said that before. Yeah, I did. I said it when I was talking about organizational challenges that you face in education. Again, you see, there's very similar, because education, business, they're organizations. So that's why it feels so similar to me, because those are things I experienced while working in education. Because regardless of your industry, you're going to have those organizations, and organizations experience similar threats. And regardless of your business, regardless if you're selling a product or a service, there are going to be threats that we experience, and that's what's impacting our results. So yes, we want to get those results. We want to hit that metric. If it is your result you're looking for is, having X amount of customers, you want 50 new customers this month or this week, or your result is in terms of revenue, you want to generate X amount of revenue, you want this amount of repeat customers, you want 20% of your current customers, you want to be repeat customers, whatever it is your result. In order to get to your result, you first need to be able to identify your problem so that you can identify the solution and know the actions you're going to be taking to get to those results. So why are results the end product that I'm looking at in my equation? Solutions plus actions equals results. Because without results, we don't have a productive and a profitable business. It doesn't matter what type of business you have or what industry you're in. You need to be able to identify the results that you want to be focusing on for your business. Plus, you have to know how you're going to achieve those results. Because you know what? You want to be able to look at those results, analyze them, and determine how you're going to level up to keep your business growing and keep it to be successful. Because remember, we all want to make it to 10 years or more, right? If you haven't already made it there. And if you've made it to 10 years, you want to make it to 20. So that's why understanding your results and analyzing it is important. But remember, there are things we need to put in place before we get to looking at results. So even when you get your results, you still need to be making decisions. And those decisions include, what do you do next if you got the result you wanted? And what do you do next if you didn't get the result you wanted? I know that might sound like I said the same thing twice, but I didn't. I'm saying this. Regardless of if you got the results you wanted or if you didn't, you still need to plan for the next step, because you shouldn't be looking at your business at keeping it at the same level. You must always be striving to level it up. We do, want to level it up and get those success. So 3 things, right, that I wanted to share with you when you're thinking about being results oriented. And again, doesn't matter if you're school or business. These are 3 things to help you when you're results oriented. Number 1, experiment. Remember that you're taking actions because they're known to have produced the result that you want. But guess what? You haven't taken that action before in your business. So yes, you're going to be looking at taking strategies that are known to get specific results. But remember, you haven't done it yet in your business. So you're looking at experimenting, doing this trial and error to see if you're going to get the same result in your business. And that can be so much fun, just by the way, because you are looking at implementing it, and we're going to get the failures along the way. And then we're going to learn from those failures and then keep moving on and keep improving so we continue to level up and keep striving towards that goal. Then the next one is break that goal up that you have for that result you have in mind into smaller steps with objectives. Why? Because once you break it up, you're going to be giving yourself that path that you need to be going along and giving yourself the opportunity to celebrate some small successes along the way. Think of it this way. When you get directions for someone that includes landmarks, right? They tell you go down the street, and when you see the bank, you're going to make a right at this bank. Then when you see the restaurant, you're going to see Chili's. And when you see Chili's, you're going to make a left at Chili's. Then when you get to the Shell, you know you're going to make another right. So that you're giving you these landmarks. And every time you get to a landmark, you're like, yes, I'm going the right way. Yes, I'm going the right way. It's the same thing when you are on your results-oriented path. You are going to be looking at those small steps, those objectives, achieving them, and keep moving on, right? So break it up into the small and keep moving forward. And by the way, for number 1 and 2, you have to have already identified the problem and the solution in order to be doing these things. Then the last one I want to share with you, number 3, is communication. It doesn't matter if you're putting these actions in place as a team or if you're using an external service provider. Point is that whoever you're working with, you have to be communicating with that person about the results that you're getting. You guys have to determine the frequency of that communication, if it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, depending on how long you're putting these actions into place. It doesn't matter if you're working with a lead generation company, a marketing person, a content developer, business coach, accountant, a virtual assistant. Whoever you're working with, you have to be communicating with those other team members who are playing a role in you going and moving towards that goal that you want, that thing that you want to achieve so badly. And as you're moving through, you are looking for possible threats. So you do need to communicate with your other team members. So when you are results oriented, you are going to be also thinking about hiring other results oriented team members to be sure that you are actually taking those necessary steps towards your goals. And there are some key questions that you can ask in that interview process. Because for me, I am determined to succeed and achieve, and I enjoy working with business owners who have a similar drive. So thank you all so much for watching this. I'm Dr. P with Priscilla Kuser Consulting Solutions. Until next time, remember, solutions plus actions equals results, y'all. Bye.